Hey guys, it's SJ. Happy Baby Name Mondays. Thank you so much for swinging back to my channel for another baby name list. There's new ones every single Monday as you know, so if you like baby names or naming a baby, hit subscribe, and if you want to join in and you love coming up with baby names, then also hit the notification bell so you'll always see it on my community tab when I'm asking you guys to join in ahead of next week, which is what I've just done today. I'm filming this so lastminute.com. We had a lovely weekend away and yeah, I'm back and I've been thinking of these names and I love them. These are basically whimsical baby names that are straight out of a fairy tale. It is totally my vibe. I love anything boho, anything naturey, anything pretty and lovely for boys and girls, and this is all of those things wrapped up in one. So you're gonna love them. I've got so many names. I'm gonna whiz through. I'll try and breathe. I just want to make sure you get all the names and a lot of the meanings, and I want to chat to you about them so bad. They're not all really rare, don't worry. Some of them are quite you'll have heard of as well, so let me know your favourites and keep adding to the list below. So the first one is a name that was on my name list from way before I was even thinking of having babies, and I thought became too mainstream, but now I love it again, and it's the name Willow. So I feel like this name totally sums up this whole category. It's become really, really wearable and mainstream, which is great, but it's at number 20. I think if you love it and you want to change it up a bit, another name I love, or maybe to make it more masculine, is the name Willoughby, which I always think of from Sense and Sensibility, don't you? I loved the movie version of that with Kate Winslet. She's like, Willoughby. But obviously there is Holly Willoughby, who's a presenter here in the UK. But I love Willow. It means graceful, after the sort of slender branches of the willow tree that often hang down by the river, and I think it's a gorgeous, iconic name for this category. Next up, for boys, I love this name so much, and it's not technically one I think you would never have heard of it, so I've gone swung the other way with this one, and it's JACOPO. JACOPO. I've came across this name and I've been trying to put it onto a list for so long, and I just think the sound and the look of it fits this for me so much. He sounds like a little sprite or a little friend. The name JACOPO, if you've ever heard of it, will probably be from the book The Count of Monte Cristo, which I can't say I've read, but apparently he is the main character, Edmund's sort of sidekick in that, JACOPO. I don't know if it's to any language or if you've heard this in your country, because I know we're from all over the world, which is amazing. I just love the sound of it. I love Jacob, and it's just a derivative of it, JACOPO. So sweet. It's a bit like Geppetto, maybe, like, you know, the Disney name. Next up, EVADNE. EVADNE got so much love from you guys. It is lovely. I have a daughter called Evelina, and those Ava names are so popular. Always looking for alternatives, and EVADNE is a gorgeous one. It's one a lot of us have heard of because she was a Greek in the Greek myths. She was in love with Apollo, which is another cool name, and I loved her story because she got pregnant by Apollo, and the people who looked after her guardians weren't happy, so she went out into the woods, very whimsical, and had a baby boy there. Came back and sorted everything out. And I think, I'm trying to see how long he was there, because I think it was like 5 days later she returned to get her baby, and she called him Iammus, which meant boy of the violets, which is also lovely because that's where she'd laid him, and he'd been being looked after by like something crazy. Where is it? She'd left him in a patch of violets, and he'd been nurtured by honeybees that were sent by Apollo in that time. It's the best story ever. Anyway, so EVADNE's cool. I think it sounds so bang on trend as well. It's really, really modern. The boys, how about Arrow? Oh, the sun's come out, sorry if I'm just suddenly glowing. Maybe it was just the name. Arrow, I really, really like it. Arrow names like Archer, like Fletcher, were like occupational names for people who used arrows. But Arrow, I think, works so well for a girl. Like if you think about Katniss, EVERDEEN, it's sort of really trendy now to have that kind of iconography of the arrow. And I just really love it as a name all by itself. I think the names like Arlo, Margot, Arrow sounds really, really wearable to me now, whereas maybe it wouldn't have been a little while ago as much. There's obviously the huge TV show Arrow, and I really like it. I think it's got that virtue, direction, hitting your targets, a bit business-like, but that sort of woodland, outdoorsy Arrow Katniss thing, but then also that striving and kind of achieving thing. It's a good one. I really like it. What do you think? A lot of these are so gender neutral. I think that's the way all names are going now. The next one is a girl's name. I wonder if you've heard it, because I actually have somebody in my NCT course called their daughter KATINKA. And I think Tinks is such a whimsical little nickname, like Tinkerbell, KATINKA. But it's actually I think she told me it was like a Dutch name, but in my research it says it's just like Eastern European in general, and it means pure, and it's a derivative of Catherine. So if you've got a Katie, Catherine, and you're looking to bring them through in your children's names, Katinka is a really trendy sort of like offbeat one, isn't it? Katinka, but it's got such a fairy tale vibe about it with the Tinkerbell thing, but it's a real name, you know, you're not making one up. But if you do want to make one up, I've done that list. Check it out below. What's next? Oh, for boys, I've gone with the name Skye. I have mentioned Skye for a boy before. I think it can be boy or girl. Obviously it's mainly known as a girl's name, but I think there's nothing more whimsical and romantic than the sky. It's got everything to do with imagination. You look up, don't you, the gods, freedom, the free spiritness of this kind of list. I think Skye is a beautiful one, and I've always liked it, and again I think it's much more wearable and acceptable now, and I think Skye for a boy is amazing. You want to hear it in Mamma Mia? Have you seen Mamma Mia 2? I loved it. It's so hippie-ish because it's set back in like the 70s. It's so cool. You'll love it, and then you'll fall in love with the name Skye. For girls, I then got Forest. Again, this is traditionally a boy name, and I've just been in love with it for a girl. So much so, for a boy or a girl, it would pretty much be my number one choice if I had another baby. I'm not pregnant. I'm not. But I just love it. I've already got a Freddie and a Finn, so I've sort of discounted having a third F name, but now I've got Evelina in the middle. I'd go back for Forest, and if I had a girl, if I'd have thought of this for a girl, I think I would have gone for it. I was just obsessed with it. And of course it's the most whimsical thing. You think about like the Forbidden Forest in Harry Potter, or the Enchanted Forest and things like Midsummer Night's Dream, and you just fall in love with it. We're in a whole different way. Forget the Gump thing. Gump thing is gone. It's all about Whimsical Forest now. For boys or girls, I thought the name Moon is so lovely. There's so many space themed names out there, and Luna, things like that becoming so popular. Why not Moon? And what I was thinking is it sounds so beautiful as a middle spot for a really traditional or a really vintage name. So you can imagine something like, now I've said it, I can't imagine it. Olivia Moon, or Isabel Moon, or Oliver Moon. I think for boys it sounds really, really cool, like Theodore Moon. It just sounds like this sort of thing of the night about it, but the magical side of the night with this beautiful moon. And so many of us are into the moon cycles now, and reading about them and understanding our mood through the moon, that I just think it sounds a really great one. I think as a boy middle spot personally, but you could go anywhere with it, or have different feelings for all of us, and that's the lovely thing about names, and that's why you should always go with your gut on a name. But I love the name Moon. I think it's a gender neutral one. Next I've got a boy one, Caspian. This is a name I've loved for so long. I loved the Narnia books growing up. Like the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe just was, my imagination was like, poof. I didn't really care about the fantasy world, I just liked the wardrobe bit. Anyone else just loved that, just really wish you could find like a little world behind a wardrobe. I didn't want to go in it. But Caspian was one of the main characters from the Narnia series, a bit later on the Chronicles of Narnia series. So it does bring to mind that kind of fairy tale prince, and he was a lot on the sea. The Caspian is also a large salty sea between Asia and Europe. I don't know, is that true? That sounds strange to me. Anyway, apparently it is. My geography is shocking. It's at number 535, this name, and it's got that outdoorsy adventure ruggedness from the mixture of Narnia and then the sea. So I think it is so cool, and it's literally on like a whoop to trajectory. It's really rising fast, so you can get in there quick, have a name outside the top 500 and be there early, but know that in maybe like 4 or 5 years it could be in the top 200, 100, because it's getting popular. For girls, iconic, the name Fable. We've talked about Fable so many times on this channel. I think I mentioned it once, and I don't know if we've talked about it a lot, but it had a lot of chatter. The name Story has a lot of chatter, but I love Fable more than Story. I love both, but Fable to me, with it being so similar to Fae, which means fairy, and Mabel is a sound, a very traditional name, then Fable is so wearable, and I love the meaning of Fable. It's like an enchanted tale telling with a moral edge. And how beautiful is that about someone's life, you know? Like, it's a lovely, lovely feeling to the name Fable, I think. I think it would suit them all through their life. You know, you could go by Faye if you were, or Belle, if you wanted to drop the Fable thing, if you felt a little bit like didn't work for you. But I think it always would. I think once you have a name, you embody it, and it does set you on a path. And for the type of parent who's going to call their child Fable, you'll probably raise them in a very like hippie, earthy, outdoorsy way, and it will become their nature. Like, imagine being at a festival, being at Coachella called Fable. I mean, I would love that. I'm SJ. I'd love any other name. Oberon is such a cool name. Oberon is at number 3,412. So it's not getting used that much, but it is in Midsummer Night's Dream. It's a Shakespearean name and it means noble bear. So trendy. What could be cooler than being a noble bear? And in Midsummer Night's Dream, Oberon is a king of the fairies. I looked at all the Midsummer Night's Dream names because I studied Shakespeare at university, where I met my husband, and then got married on Midsummer Night. Why don't I have a midsummer name? I don't think I was brave enough back then for Oberon. He certainly wouldn't have been, but now I would. And I love the nickname Ronnie as well. I love it. I think it's so trendy and it's right up there, Ronnie. So if you like Ronnie but you want them to have a bit of a different name, then Oberon is a great one. Yeah, what do you think of it? Do you think it's really wearable? It's a bit out there, but I think names like Ophelia was out there a few years ago, and everyone's called Ophelia now. But it's a really, really mainstream choice. So Oberon, I think, could be going that way. And sorry if you've got an Oberon and I've just said it. I know I get in trouble from some people. EVERDEEN is, again, I'm going back to Hunger Games, which is one of my all-time favourite movies. I didn't read the books. I am sorry, I just came to it from the movies. Loved it so much. I love the whole original centaur in the maze thing anyway, and it was kind of based on that. EVERDEEN I really like. Obviously Katniss is a nature name, it's from a flower, but EVERDEEN I looked at why the author chose it, and it was based on a character in another book, which is Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, and he had a character called Bathsheba EVERDEEN, and she felt that they were similar characters in their heart and their spirit and their struggles, so she chose the surname from that, which I think is nice to know. But I just think that it sounds lovely. It sounds really boyish to me. I can imagine a boy being called EVERDEEN, if you like that EVE kind of thing for girls and you're thinking, oh, is there a masculine version of it? There's lots, and lots of you suggested masculine versions of that over on the community tab, so do go and read all those names if you are naming a baby, because you'll love it and you'll know what kind of to join in with next week. I'm about to start shouting you out. So Noah over on my community tab, hi Noah. He came up with the idea of the name NALU, which I loved, and then I researched it. I didn't know what it meant, and it was a Hawaiian name, which is the name list I've been wanting to do for so long. I did think I was going to marry Keanu Reeves for a little while. And this means surging surf or surging wave, which was like why I loved him from that movie. But yeah, I just think it's so beautiful, NALU. Just so lovely for a boy name, a gentle boy name, an outdoorsy, spirited name. Really whimsical, really beautiful, and the L makes it so soft and absolutely perfect for this list. So thank you, that was a brand new one for me, Noah. For girls, I love the name Seraphina, and it is one that you guys will love. I know you've been asking me for rainbow baby names, and I will do it. But Seraphina actually means fiery wings, and it comes from the root of the word seraphim, which meant powerful angel. So I think that's a great one for rainbow babies, but in general, Seraphina is just this powerful, whimsical, angelic name, and that is so lovely. I love the length of it. I love long girl names, I always have. What do you think of Seraphina? I've got a friend with a Seraphina who will most definitely be mad at me mentioning it. I've like been zipped. She's already had the baby now, so I think she's over it. So Cherie came up with the name Finnigan over on the community tab, and I love it. I have a Finn, and I've always thought of his name as like Huckleberry Finn, quite romantic, quite literary, quite whimsical, but I liked the shortness of Finn, but I'd never thought of Finnigan, and I love it so much. Flynn came up when we were looking at it. What was the one that Henrik really wanted? Finley. I wasn't so keen on Finley. Finbar we looked at. There's Fintis as well, which is cute. But it just sounds really on trend at the moment, Finnigan, because it's got that surname as first name thing, and it means little fair one, which is so pretty and lovely and gentle for a little boy. Just imagine a little like yeah, Huckleberry Finn character. So I loved Finnigan so much. Ashley suggested Griffin, which again is very similar. It's got all the Harry Potter vibes, doesn't it? And it's got that fierce animal vibe, which I did do a mythological creatures baby name list, whole list, mermaid names and everything. And a griffin is part eagle, part lion. So could it be cooler really? You're in like Gryffindor, you're with Harry Potter, if you're a big Harry Potter fan. But I think it sounds great. I think Griff is a great nickname as well. Finn, you could even be the nickname for Griffin. So these two are kind of linked together. and I absolutely love it. I wish if I could go back in time and be braver, I would use Finnigan or Griffin and go with the nickname Finn. Shane came up with the idea and I loved it. ROSENWYNN. How lovely is ROSENWYNN? You know I love the name Bronwyn, one of my most popular name lists ever, isn't it? Nearly 1 million views, I'll link it below. And the first name is Bronwyn. ROSENWYNN, I love even more. I think you've actually pipped it, and it means white rose. Apparently it was a Cornish song, traditional folk song called ROSENWYNN, which I think maybe that's been then translated into names. It might be popular around Cornwall, let me know. One of my favourite places, one of my favourite names. Winnie is one of my favourite nicknames. Rose, I absolutely love just the simplicity of it. ROSENWYNN together. Shane. Must be my star namer of the week. I absolutely love it. It's going to stay in my mind. It makes me very happy, as you can tell. Another name for boys. How about Poet? Would you think of Poet as a boy name, or is it very feminine to you? So it comes up in forums on a boy name list for this type of theme. Poet, of course, is really an occupational name. It's one who writes verse, and many of the famous poets are men. You know, which is funny. I always think about men writing these love poems. Not anymore. Maybe like a lovely post on your Facebook page on your birthday. But I love it. I mean, I would love to use something like Poet. I think it is absolutely got so many beautiful connotations. But then I made up a name, where is it, that I love even more. I made this up. I don't know if I did make it up. I thought I did. It's the name Locket. So I started thinking about lockets and how special they are. You know, I've always wanted, but I've never had one with a little, you know, 2 halves and you put them in a little photo or a little bit of hair locket. And I love it. I thought for boys or girls, like these little love lockets was so historical, and I just love the sound of the name. Think about Lottie and all those L names, Lachlan being really popular. Locket really works. Loki is used as a nickname. Loki is the old Norse god, so it's kind of got a lot going for it. Locket. So yeah, Poet or Locket? Which one do you prefer? I've got to tell you, this girl name is Reverie. I did talk about Reverie before. I was obsessed with it for a long time, and it means like being in a dreamlike state. It's an unranked name. I'm literally like going door to door trying to get people to name their babies Reverie. No one has yet. It's totally unranked. You can have a totally unique name. With Everly, so popular, all these EV sounds, no one's got the R in front of it. Reverie. We love Romilly here, don't we? We've talked about the name Romilly a few times and we all love it. So Reverie, it's just a bang up to date, dreamlike state. Like, what could be more gorgeous? And just the look of it is so pretty. Oh look, here's Evelina. Yes, darling.
Mommy, come on, I want ice cream.
You want ice cream? Can you say hello? Say, I'm Evelina. Are you like a fairy tale name? And then I have 2 last ones, but I've lost one of them. Phelan, which means fairy lake for girls. I had to put on this list because it's just absolutely lovely. Anything with fae means fairy, and I just loved Phelan from the Celtic fairy from the lake, because it's like 2 of my favourite things in the world. And then the last one is also a girl name, so I know this is a bit girl heavy now. Serenity, and I love the name Serenity, and it's actually on an upward swing. So if again you're looking for something that is not too unusual, Serenity, which means calm, is at number 886, starting to get used. Even Serenity, people switching it with a Z, I saw on forums. But yeah, it means to be calm. And how beautiful. So if you had like 2, you could have an arrow and Serenity. Then you'd literally be the coolest person in the world, in my books. So I hope you liked that list. I hope it was what you expected from the title. Please keep adding to this list below. I think these names are all so stunning. There's some more popular ones and some more out there ones, but I think they're all wearable. I think there's something for everyone in this list, I hope. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more baby name lists. Do request below and the most liked list I will be doing. I'm also going to be doing another naming viewers baby names. So if you know someone who's pregnant or might have a dilemma, then make sure to send them to my channel, tell them to hit subscribe and the notification bell, because I will be putting up my request for that very soon. Lots and lots of love, everyone. Happy Baby Name Monday. Thanks for being here each and every week. It means the absolute world to me. It would mean even more if you subscribed, because so many viewers, like 60% of viewers, aren't subscribed, and that subscribe button, as you know, means a lot to YouTubers. So I would love that. And I'll see you next week. I'm gonna go make an ice lolly for Evelina. Bye guys.